Okay, roll call is going around. It looks like we have 18 members present. Supervisor Hanson, if you can mark yourself present, and Supervisor Falkowski, I saw him here earlier. You're over here. Okay. Mark yourself present when you sit down. Okay, I'll call this meeting of the Manitowoc County Board to order. We will start with invocation by Supervisor Falkowski, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Lord, as we gather here this evening, we do with humble hearts, seeking your divine guidance and understanding. We pray for the triumph over the depravity of hatred and the generated evils existing in the Holy Land, Europe, and domestically. We beseech you to comfort those who have been victimized and the lost souls and innocents who have been stripped of their humanity in these attacks. In this moment, we also offer our gratitude for the multitude of faith communities that grace our county. They stand as a beacon of hope, guiding us toward the fulfillment of our shared aspirations and a cudgel against chaos and evil. As we stand in awe of the precious gift of life we've been blessed, we cannot ignore the fact that our world is brimming with both opportunities and challenges. We ask God to grant us the strength to face the unique challenges and the wisdom to discern what awaits us going forward. These challenges will require us to transcend our limitations to foster innovation and collaboration as we work towards success on behalf of our constituents who have entrusted us with this responsibility. Dear God, we thank you for allowing us to convene here to engage in thoughtful and open discourse tonight. We ask that you keep us attuned to the need in our constituents and watch over the well-being of our county's protective services who answer the call in times of need. By your grace, may our discussions tonight be purposeful and lead us towards decisions that benefit our constituents. Thank you, God. Shalom. Deus gracias. Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Supervisor Falkowski. Roll call is going around, and I now see there are 21 members marked present. We do have a quorum. First item of business is correction or consideration of the minutes from our last meeting. I'd be looking for a motion from Supervisor Bry, second by Supervisor Heller. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And the minutes are approved. There are no additions to the agenda. That'll take us into our proclamations for tonight. The first proclamation is commemorating the life of James Hendricks. So if there's anybody here to accept that proclamation, if you could join me up at the front podium, please. Proclamation commemorating the life and service of James M. Hendricks. Whereas, James M. Hendricks, being born on December 14th, 1928 in Chicago, Illinois, was a graduate of Lane Technical High School, Chicago, Illinois, with the class of 1946, a military veteran who served in the United States Marine Corps, progressing to the rank of sergeant and the Army Reserve 377th Light Maintenance Company, rising to the rank of major. During his military career, he served in Israel, on the island of Vicase, and in Vietnam, earning the Bronze Star and retiring from military service in February 1988. He was employed at Muro Aluminum Company as contract sales manager and later as OEM sales manager at Volrath Company, and he passed away on August 15th, 2023. And whereas, James M. Hendricks was active in county government. During his terms on the county board, he served as District 8 Supervisor and was the county board chairperson from 1978 to 1982, and vice chair of the county board from 1974 to 1978. He served on the Personnel Committee, Advisory, Legislative and Rules, Aeronautics Committee, Judiciary, Law Enforcement and Civil Defense Committee, Manitowoc County Farmland Preservation Review Committee, Chairman's Advisory Committee, Manitowoc County Overall Economic Development Committee, Manitowoc County Commission on Aging, Emergency Government Committee, and Bay Lakes Regional Planning Commission. And whereas James M. Hendricks was a devoted husband, father, grandfather, and great-grandfather who enjoyed spending time with family and friends. He was a Chicago Cubs and Bears fan who relished the rivalry with the Green Bay Packers with his family and friends. And whereas James M. Hendricks was a leader who served the citizens of Manitowoc County in many capacities and contributed countless hours to improve the quality of life for all. Now, therefore, we, Bob Ziegelbauer, County Executive, and Tyler Martell, Manitowoc County Board Chair, along with the Manitowoc County Board of Supervisors, hereby commemorate the life and service of James M. Hendricks and express our condolences to the Hendricks family.
Thank you so very much. On behalf of my family, we are very proud to accept this tribute to my dad. I remember several times in my dad's life when he did receive an honor, I remember him saying, "When you are honored, accept that honor with humility." And so therefore I do so tonight. Thank you.
Next, we have a proclamation commemorating the life of Ricky K. Sloan. If anybody's here to accept this proclamation, I invite you to join me. A proclamation commemorating the life and service of Ricky K. Sloan. Whereas, Ricky K. Sloan, being born on June 16, 1943 in Fairmont, Minnesota, was a graduate of Fairmont High School, a military veteran who served 4 years of active duty in the United States Navy, and 2 years as a reservist on the Great Lakes. He was employed at H. Luloff & Son hardware store and explored numerous other careers before beginning his 29-year career with the City of Kiel Police Department, where he served for 20 years as Chief of Police. And he passed away on August 26, 2023. And whereas Ricky K. Sloan was active in county government, during his terms on the county board, he served as District 23 and 14 Supervisor and was the Vice Chair of the County Board from 2002 to 2004. He served on the Ad Hoc Healthcare Center Construction Committee, Grievance Committee, Executive Committee, Chairperson's Advisory Committee, Public Safety Committee, Local Emergency Planning Committee, Joint Dispatch Committee, Human Services Board, Traffic Safety Committee, Youth Services Coordinating Council, Public Safety Joint Services Board, Board of Health Human Services Committee, Public Works Committee, and the Highway Committee. And whereas Ricky K. Sloan was a devoted father, husband, and grandfather who thoroughly enjoyed spending time with his family. He was an active member of the Wisconsin Chiefs of Police, serving as an officer, a Kiel Police Department volunteer firefighter and EMT, past president of the Kiel American Legion Post 99, and a member of the American Legion 124 New Holstein. During his retirement years, he worked for the Quickiaq Golf Course grounds crew and as a Jolly Santa Claus. And whereas Ricky K. Sloan was a leader who served the citizens of Manitowoc County in many capacities and contributed countless hours to improve the quality of life for all. Now, therefore, we, Bob Ziegelbauer, County Executive, and Tyler Martell, Manitowoc County Board Chair, along with the Manitowoc County Board of Supervisors, hereby commemorate the life and service of Ricky K. Sloan and express our condolences to the Sloan family. And next, I'll be inviting the county executive up to introduce Rhonda Green, our new emergency management director.
want to introduce to you Rhonda Green, our emergency management and joint dispatch service manager. She started last week. You approved the appointment at the last meeting, and I'll turn it over to her to introduce herself.
I am Rhonda Green. My husband and I are originally from Sheboygan. I was transferred down there 15 years ago as an environmental health and safety coordinator for an automotive company, but I fell into emergency management. And before I accepted the position here, I managed 12 counties that were assigned to me, and sometimes up to 17 counties, surrounding counties, with emergency management. It is an honor and a blessing to be here. I'm so grateful that you chose me, and I will work very hard for you, and I'm very appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome to Manitowoc. Next, we will have our public comment. First is our public hearing on the county executive's proposed 2024 budget. So are there any members of the public wishing to speak on the 2024 budget? Any citizens looking to speak on the 2024 budget? For a third and final time, are there any citizens looking to speak on the budget? Seeing none, I'll declare the public hearing over, and that will take us into our regular public comment. So are there any members of the public wishing to speak on any issue germane to the County of Manitowoc? Anybody looking to speak for public input? Yes, Ms. Yost?
Chipio Centerville. Quick PSA, if you use a numerical password code lock on your phone, consider changing it to a fingerprint so that an officer or EMT can use your finger to open your phone and find your, in case of emergency, your ICE contact. I am here tonight to advocate for a half cent on a dollar spent countywide sales tax. The passage of Act 12 this summer was the result of the governor and the legislature agreeing to increase shared revenue to our local communities. Quoting, Governor Evers and the Republican leaders negotiated to reach a compromise on shared revenue that includes at least a 20% increase in support to most municipalities statewide. Local partners for years have had to make impossible decisions, forced to choose between paying for first responders addressing PFAS, fixing the roads, and other critical priorities that affect the health, safety, and the well-being of folks across our state. Act 12 makes increased shared revenue from the state to counties and local communities the law. An aspect to consider about a countywide half cent on a dollar spent sales tax is the effect it would have on our county revenue. The Attorney General stated, quoting, I therefore conclude that the funds received from a county sales and use tax under section 77.77 may be budgeted by the county board to reduce the amount of the countywide property tax levy or to defray the cost of any budget item which can be funded by a countywide property tax. The main point is that revenue from a half cent on a dollar spent can reduce Manitowoc County property owners' burden for our 36,000 plus owners. A recent study based on the Wisconsin Department of Tourism about Manitowoc County showed that the direct visitor support spending in 2022 was $127 million. Those visitors could be contributing to property tax relief for owners throughout our county. County Executive Ziegelbauer proposed 2024 budget includes borrowing $5,000 in principal without a known interest rate, costs, and time frame for county road and bridge work. Once again showing that he is deferring payment for today's needs into the future. We are living beyond our means while turning down improved county revenue. He wants to borrow money for customary county expenses while denying our property taxpayers the same property relief other Wisconsinites benefit from in the vast majority of counties. And as I have said so many times before, I continue to advocate for a half cent on a dollar spent countywide sales tax, as quoting, the borrower is slave to the lender, Proverbs 22:17. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak? Any other members of the public who wish to speak? For a third and final time, I'll close public input. There are no appointments by the county executive tonight, so we'll go into our committee reports. First is Planning and Park Commission, Supervisor Falkowski.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Planning and Park Commission met on October 23rd. We had a light docket that day, one variance request and administrative text amendment for Chapter 4, plus the snowmobile trail maintenance contracts. The commission elected Dave Cornick as Secretary Pro Tempore for that meeting. Continuing, we confirmed open meeting compliance law and the normal procedures on our agenda. First, we conducted a hearing for the Manitowoc County Planning and Park petition for an ordinance amendment for Chapter 4 of the Manitowoc County Code titled Finance to allow for application, special assessment, and permit fee increase. There was no one from the public to speak, and the hearing was closed. The commissioners engaged with deliberation and discussion. Afterwards, a motion to approve the fee increases and a rounding component passed unanimously. Therefore, on behalf of the commission, I so move to affirm Resolution 2023-2024-42, approving and adopting the Manitowoc County Park and Planning Commission fee schedule.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Supervisor vote. Any discussion on the resolution? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the resolution adopting Manitowoc County Planning and Park Commission fee schedule.
And the motion carries.
Under Certified Survey Development Plans and Subdivision, we consider the Satori Family Irrevocable Trust variance request from the town of Cato. After staff commentary and answering questions any of the commissioners had, a motion to approve the variance request passed unanimously and was granted. Our final item on the agenda was the snowmobile trail maintenance contracts for 2023-2024 season. We were given the contract overview and answered any of our questions on the commission. A motion to approve the contracts with 9 snowmobile clubs passed unanimously. Our next meeting date is tentatively scheduled for Monday, December 4th. Advisory Committee meeting starts at 3:30 and the hearing starts at 4. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That is the end of my shortest ever report.
I don't know if that's quite your shortest ever, but much abridged. Moving on, Aging and Disability Board, Supervisor Wagner.
Thank you, Chairman Martell. The ADRC, our next meeting will be November 28th, and it will be held in Kiwanee County. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Supervisor Wagner. Next is Board of Health, Supervisor Metzger.
We met October 12th. The health officer report, she talked about strategic planning. The communicable disease report, COVID-19 will be moved from category 1 to a category 2 starting November 1st. Hospitalizations are now the primary for COVID. Links to COVID-19, you can check on the health department website. DHS, Wisconsin Department of Public Health, was on site for formal assessment of the health department's operations. A written report is expected from the state before the end of the year. Grants update, substance use prevention, coalition to determine the location for the grant. The coalition also received funds from a private foundation for a machine which is planned to go to Econo Lodge. Nurse manager report, COVID-19 and chlamydia remain the highest reported diseases for August and September. Cases of syphilis are increased throughout the state. We'll be hosting mass flu clinics later this month. One of the nurses was selected to participate in a healthcare associated infection prevention training program put on by the state. Health outreach, we're going to be given, the nurses are going to be going to the schools again. We also gave out prevent tick-borne illnesses kits. We have distributed over 200. Distribute over 100 respiratory hygiene kits to public. Community health improvement. All the nurses are now certified in youth mental health first aiding training. Environmental health services. Jesse presented background on the fees, proposed increased fees and impact, and discuss how establishments are categorized. The WIC direct report. The caseload is 934, July was 991, August 988, and projected for September is 955. They also discussed on the federal shutdown may impact the WIC area. Recent guidance from the state WIC office indicated minimum impact to clients. We have the resolution number 2 in front of us. Resolution adopting health department fee schedule, and I so move.
Thank you. There's a motion. Is there a second? Supervisor Mink, any discussion on the resolution? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the resolution adopting health department fee schedule.
And the resolution is adopted.
Our next meeting will be November 9th at 5 p.m. at the Health Department. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Next is the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, Supervisor Falkowski.
No report this month.
I think that's your shortest report ever. Expo Ice Center Board, Supervisor Sikowitz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Expo Ice Center Board met on Wednesday, October 4th. The board reviewed their plans for the 2024 Manitowoc County Fair. The 2024 Manitowoc County Fair theme is Make a Beeline for the Fair, and the theme colors will be yellow, black, and royal blue. There was review of the indoor vendor booth fees, and a vendor business card will be created and printed for board members to hand out to new potential vendors. There are several county fair working group meetings scheduled over the next month. The next rummage sale to be held at the Expo are set for December 9th and February 10th. The Expo office is accepting paid table reservations now. Expo board member Jeremy Hallwig was presented with the Chairperson's Award during the meeting. This award is presented annually to the board member who goes above and beyond in their work at County Fair and promoting the fair throughout the year. The Ice Center's ice sheet has been installed, and the youth hockey and figure skating groups are now skating daily. And the next Expo Ice Center board meeting is scheduled for November 1st at the Expo office. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Next is Finance Committee, Supervisor Hanson.
Thank you, Chairman Martell. Two things tonight. We have a resolution canceling county checks not presented within 2 years of issuance. This is kind of a standard operating procedure. After 2 years, if you haven't cashed your check, it goes back into our savings account. However, we were informed tonight, if you do bring that check in, we will still reimburse you for it if you've got the physical check in your hand and bring it in. But as of this resolution, if it passes, we're closing the books after 2 years of not cashing those checks. So I move to pass this resolution, Mr. Chairman.
Motion and a second by Supervisor Bry. Any discussion on the resolution? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the resolution canceling county checks not presented within 2 years of issuance.
And the resolution's adopted.
Thank you for that. A couple important dates. A week from tonight, on November 6th, the Finance Committee will get together at 4:30 to discuss any concerns with the budget. That will happen at the administrative office downtown. 4:30, that would be November 6th. And we will discuss that, hopefully pass after discussion, and bring it to the county board, which is meeting November 7th at 6 o'clock, right here. So if you have any concerns about the budget, November 6th, you can come and voice them. You're always welcome at a Finance Committee meeting. And that's it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor Hanson. Next is Highway Committee Supervisor Benke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We met on October 17th. A number of different airport issues, hangar leases. Had an update on the manager at the airport, which is a new manager, which he abreast us on what's going on there. Got an update on airport EAA fuel sales. So during that time of the EAA, say July 15th through the 30th, the net sales was $10,000 in fuel sales. On a normal month, the same period of the month before, June 15th to the 30th, it's about 2,500. So significant fuel sales during the EAA, which is definitely good for the airport. Got an update on the reclamation plans on a number of our quarries. Chairman Grota went through a whole lot of LRIP, LRIP funding, SDP funding, bridge aid funding, and talked about some of the issues that we're going to be dealing with the project on with the jurisdictional transfers of different areas of that area. Most of these projects that we are doing within the city limits, we're trying to, after fixing them, to put the jurisdictional transfer back to the city. It's a good agreement between us and the city. Works well. We've done it on a number of other projects. Menasha Avenue was one in the years past. Working out real good. Sometimes it gets a little bit wonky, but in the jurisdictions there, but going through that process pretty well. Got an update from the department in training. We're going through a lot of our fall training, safety training. Went through a lot of that. Update on equipment, overtime, and vouchers, and our next meeting will be November 14th. That concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Next, we have the Human Services Board, Supervisor Bry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have no report this time.
Thank you. Land Conservation Committee and UW Extension Education and Agriculture Committee, Supervisor Wagner.
Thank you, Chairman Martell. The LCC, the Land Conservation Committee, will be having our next meeting November 16th, a Thursday, at the County Office Complex and at 4:45 p.m. The UW Extension, Education, and Agricultural Committee, their next meeting will be December 21st at the County Office Complex at 4:45 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Personnel Committee, Supervisor Marsh.
I have no report.
Thank you. Next, we have Public Safety Committee, Supervisor Falkowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Public Safety Committee met on October 11th. We confirmed monthly reports and summary reports. No questions on the reports were presented. We heard from Mr. Otto from the Two Rivers area for public comment. The report for the Clerk of Courts will be rearranged for the next committee meeting. On our agenda was the reporting from the Register of Probate and Court Commissioner Patricia Kappa. Commissioner Kappa briefed us on the department's budget and the work conducted in the probate's office. The role of the court commissioner is distinct from the duties of Register of Probate and covers an area different of the court system. The probate office is responsible for the guardianship, protective placements, and civil confinements and adoptions. Sometimes these areas overlap with cases under the responsibility of the juvenile clerk, an employee of the clerk of court's office. A new position to focus on those special cases was requested in 2024 allocation that would benefit both offices. The Register of Probate's office is often unstaffed, but the duties have been increased based on the current demands. Credit to Commissioner Kappa for managing the 2023 budget using additional revenue to cover the cost of an LTE position for backscanning projects caused by office relocation last summer. The project is anticipated to go on for months, depending on the availability of scanning employees. A fully processed of 1 year took 40 hours, and there is another 8 years left to be scanned. Another area discussed was the needing for personal representatives to finish their probate responsibilities. Bonding may ensure completion and mitigate some misuse. This may require policy changes within the court's discretion, and this is in the purview of the presiding judges for consideration. We thank Ms. Kappa for her distinguished career with the county and the dedicated insights describing the department's operation. Supervisors are encouraged to reach out with any questions to Commissioner Kappa. Our next meeting is scheduled for November 8th with the Clerk of Court and Family Court Commissioner. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That is the end of my report.
Thank you. Next, we have Public Works Committee, Supervisor Droll.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Public Works Committee met Wednesday, October 11th. We reviewed and discussed the Solid Waste and Recycling Division. Our manager, John Reisenbeekler, gave a report on the recycling markets. We discussed the cooperative agreement between Manitowoc County and all the county's municipalities on the program that saves everybody money that's a part of this. We discussed November 15th being America Recycles Day and forwarded the proclamation to County Board Chairman Martell and County Executive Ziegelbauer to be as Manitowoc County America Recycles Day. We reviewed and discussed the Building and Grounds Division. Our Building and Grounds Supervisor, Craig Bright, gave a report on the capital projects going on. We heard the courthouse dome renovation project requests for proposals had been sent to 12 architectural firms, and the RFPs are due no later than November 1st. We're going to do the courthouse windows and HVAC replacement program, and had timeline on the formal interviews with 3 firms are scheduled for October 18th. We reviewed and discussed the communications division, the information technology division. Luke Callista reported on what's going on there. We discussed the Expo Air Ice Center division, and we reviewed the Finance Director's Expo Special Revenue Fund report. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. And last, we have the Transportation Coordinating Committee, Supervisor Hacker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Transportation Coordinating Committee met October 24th to review third quarter 2023 progress and results. Grant proposals for 2024 were approved and have been submitted. Approval of our 5310 vehicle grant application is finalized, allowing replacement of one of our 3 buses. The 2024 grant proposal includes a request for funding to replace another of our buses next year. Ridership continues to rise, with one-way rides in the third quarter up 79% over third quarter 2022. Year-to-date ridership is up 72% over year-to-date 2022. 3 new volunteer drivers have been added in 2023, bringing our staff to 13. Marketing efforts for our mobility management program have been ramped up to include promotion on the WCUB Breakfast Club and WOMT Be My Guest radio shows, the ADRC of the Lake Shores Resource Connection, the Two Rivers Senior Center newsletter, and the Manitowoc Senior Center's The Periscope newsletter. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. That concludes our committee reports. I just have one announcement. As Supervisor Hanson said, our next meeting is on November 7th at 6 o'clock here, so it's not at our normal date near the end of the month, but it is on November 7th at 6 o'clock. And then I see Supervisor Benke.
Just, if I could ask Supervisor Droll just to clarify the request for proposal, explain a little bit more on the request for proposal and the windows and HVAC. How is that being proposed?
I just saw that Jerry just left the building, but the requests that went out to the 12 architectural firms are just for the architectural services. There aren't any proposals for the windows or the HVAC programs, and there were discussions with 3 local contractors. That's to go on next year, essentially, separately. And there is a joint committee that's being formed to go over all of these, with meetings some of the meetings will be in November and some with December to discuss all these things. So, yeah.
Thank you for the clarification. I'm sure there's a lot of people in the public too who are curious about how this process is going to unfold. Any other announcements? If not, I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Supervisor Engelbrecht, second by Supervisor Mink. We are adjourned.